Let me make a bold statement. Arsenal must win the league this year. And is this because I'm a fan? Hell no, I actually can't stand them. But I think it's because they cannot afford to lose another league while playing the best football in the league. Allow me to explain. All the way through last season, they were right up there with Man City and ended up choking away a huge and long-sustained lead in the league table in spectacular fashion. But it was forgivable, as Man City were still obviously the better team after dunking on the Gunners in their own crib and metaphorically kissing them on the forehead and calling them lil bro. And it was okay because that young team of Arsenal had never really been put in the pressure scenario of a title race before. And a title race with Manchester City is really no joke. However, this season life's different. Arsenal pushed their chips to the middle of the table the second they signed Declan Rice for 105 million Great British pounds. And then they decided to slap another 65 million on Kai Havertz, a big commitment for a team that came so close to winning the title already last year. But it's not just about the money spent, but the improvement in performance overall. Last season was a lot of late winners in the 198th minute and that. And while that has still happened this year, they just seem more in control of games overall. They've paired the league's best defense with a now high-flying and clicking attack. Look at the last month, they've won 6-0, 5-0, 4-1. That's all in the past few weeks. And they're still third. Now, the reason I say this great high-flying young team needs to win the league is because this simply isn't sustainable, and I get the feeling the window of opportunity is most optimal right now, and yet they still find themselves behind Liverpool and Man City. Listen, I get they are young and have been steadily improving through the years of development, but life changes very quickly in the Premier League. And no team can afford to lose another title race when they are playing this well. First of all, men like Saka, Saliba, Odegaard, Gabriel, Rice are playing an insane amount of games at an incredibly high intensity, and in the case of some of them like Saka, they've been doing it for multiple years. Now, I don't wish injury or performance drop off on any of them, but it's inevitable when you factor how intense and how much they've played. Remember a few years back how Jurgen Klopp's prime Liverpool dropped off? It's because of the injuries and natural wear down of that squad that caused a severe drop off. The clock could be ticking on this current Arsenal squad, who has had their spine be essentially a picture of health for 2 years. You saw how bad they were losing just one spine player last year in Saliba. Now imagine that amplified. Second of all, I think moral victories can only take you so far, and if they still can't get over the line this year despite obviously being the best footballing team, then I'll start to get a little whiff of a particular team. You guys smell that? It smells like chicken.
The chicken in the bowl? Is it Chicken Bowl FC?
Yeah, man, it smells like another young, promising team from North London that plays exciting football and was disregarding their inability to get over the line because they were young until all the promise vanished in a flash. Real uncomfortable. I'm not saying this iteration of Arsenal is Pochettino Spurs by any means, but you really can't deny the similarities if Arsenal can't wrap up a trophy this year. The time for moral victories is short before success must start to follow. A winning culture, establishing heritage, and racking up some trophies and proving you can deliver in the business end of the season is imperative. Because before you know it, all that promise is vanishing, and once the momentum stops, it's not easy to get back going. Especially when a certain all-timer team of inevitability is present in the league, which brings me to my last point. This is the worst Manchester City will be under Pep Guardiola. Okay, now stay with me. I know they just won the treble last season and I'm saying it's the worst they'll be. It doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it does. Hear me out. Like I said, they just won a treble and have won 3 Premier Leagues in a row. Mental and physical exhaustion must be taking its toll on the blue side of Manchester by now. And it's kind of starting to show on their play this year. Watch them play for the majority of this season so far. they're not really that good. Okay, no, they're good, but they're not Manchester City good, the good we've become accustomed to over the last few years under Pep. They are also in the middle of a transitional season with new players getting integrated after some of the squad's most important players moved on after the treble win. Therefore, it's not rocket science to assume this exhausted and transitioning team is the worst Man City will be as long as that bald freak is on the touchline for them. Now don't get it twisted, they're still an immense team. Amazing players, amazingly drilled and coached by who I think is the best coach of all time, and complete mentality monsters. But they are still not as good as they have been, and not as good as one can assume they will be next year after finishing this transition. They would have fully integrated players like Gvardiol, Matheus Nunes, and Jeremy Doku in the same way they improved other players after their first year in the team. And they'll probably sign more great players that they will turn world class too, and keep improving. It's Man City, this is what they do. So now is the time for Arsenal to capitalize, in the same way Klopp's Liverpool capitalized on an off-transitional year for City when they blitzed the league back in 2019-2020. Arsenal and their fans don't want to hear it, but I really think this is the year they must rise and get over the line. They keep trying to run this underdogs moving in silence gimmick, but the more I step back and analyze the situation, the more I feel they need this league title. Does that mean they'll fall off a cliff and be terrible next year if they don't win this title? No. But it's just going to be even harder to complete next season when Man City have refreshed and that intense style of constant play continues to wear on Arsenal's squad. And if they can't wrap it up this year, when they're playing so well and flying high and Man City's transitioning, what makes you think they'll be able to do it next year? Next year? Isn't that what you said last year? So as much as you don't want to hear it, the time is now, Arsenal. You're the best footballing team in the league, Man City is laboring, and Liverpool is running off fumes and turning into an infirmary. You're only 2 points off the title with almost no severe pressure to win the title in the mainstream media. If not now, then when? As we enter the business end of the season and begin an unbelievably fascinating title race, the true mentality and quality of this current Arsenal team will be tested. Will they overcome two great teams and etch their name among other great Premier League winning sides, or will they let another opportunity slip by? There's only one way to find out. It's all cute and fun winning 6-0 in February, but let's see what you got when the lights are brightest. Man, I hope they lose it again though. How funny would that be? Like, I don't care if it's not technically a bottle job, I will still be there to fry them in May if they don't get it over the line. Oh, you better believe that fan base is too loud and annoying to not get fried. I will be there more than you can.